Hello everybody, in this recording I would like to walk you again step by step through the problem and which uses probability. So how do we proceed? Let's first, before we go there, read the problem. Albinism is a recessive condition resulting from inability to produce dark pigment, melanin. The problem we have is a man and woman with normal skin pigmentation want to have two children. The man has one albino parent, the woman has parent with normal pigmentation, however she has albino brother. So before we answer a question, what I always advise you to do when you solve application problem, look on the problem and write down what do you know. So what do we know first here? So what do we know is that albinism is what? It is a recessive condition. So person who is albino has to be homozygous recessive. What else do we know? We know that men and women both have normal skin pigmentation. So men and women both have normal skin pigmentation, which means that each of them has to have at least one dominant allele. And they want to have two children. Okay, that's their goal. Now, in order to answer a question which asks about their offsprings, we have to define their genotype. So how do we do it? We have to look at their parents. Now, man parents, what is clearly stated that man has one albino parent. So one of his parents was albino. He has normal skin pigmentation, so his other parent must have had also normal skin pigmentation, and he got this dominant allele from one of his parents. However, another parent is homozygous recessive, so from this parent he had to get recessive allele. So there is no question, he is heterozygous. What about woman? Her parents both had normal skin pigmentation. However, she has a brother who is albino. What does it mean? This brother had to get one recessive allele from each parent. What does it mean is that both of her parents were heterozygous. So she has normal skin pigmentation. So what are the possible genotypes she might have? She might be homozygous dominant, heterozygous in two ways. She can get dominant allele from first parent and recessive from second, or she can get a recessive allele from first parent and dominant from another. Now, let's read the question. What is the probability that at least one child of this couple will be albino? If you look at the female's genotypes, under which condition she can give birth to albino child? Only if she was heterozygous. If her genotype was homozygous dominant, all the children will have normal pigmentation. So what is the probability that she will be heterozygous? It's 2/3, and we have to consider this probability. Now let's solve the cross between these two people. So the father is heterozygous and mother is also heterozygous, where the probability of her being heterozygous is 2/3. Now what are the possible genotype of this cross? So the children of this couple can be heterozygous, homozygous dominant, heterozygous, or homozygous recessive. So question asked about albino children. So only 1/4 of children will have albino genotype. However, in order for these children to be albino, not only they have to receive one recessive allele from one parent and a second one from second parent, they have also they can only be albino if their mother was heterozygous. So, and probability for her being heterozygous is 2/3. So you have to multiply these two probabilities in order to get final probability of the child being albino, which is to 12 equaling 1/6. So 1/6 is the probability that child will be albino, which means that for children being or having normal skin pigmentation is 5/6. Now, when you know this, when you know how the event happens, you can proceed and answer a question. Let's answer a question under A. What is the probability that at least one child will be albino? So, out of two children, how this might happen? Let's outline child 1, child 2, and probability. So, what might happen? How it might happen? It might be that first child will be albino and second one will be normal. Or it might happen the way that first child is normal, second is albino. Or the question asks that at least one child will be albino. So there is also a possibility that both children will be albino. Okay, so what is the probability that child will be albino? It's 1/6. We just calculated it. What is the probability that second child will be normal? Is 5/6. So what is the probability that first child will be albino and second one will be normal? It is 5/36. Second way how this might happen is that first child is normal and second one is albino. So what is probability here? It's again 5/36. Okay. Third possibility is that both children are albino. So probability that first child will be albino and second one will be albino is 1/36. Now, to answer the question, you have to consider that to have at least one child albino out of two children, it might happen either this way or this way or this way. So you have to add all these probabilities. You have to use addition rule to calculate the probability, which would be 5/36 plus 5/36 plus 1/36, which is 11/36. And that's a probability to have at least one child albino out of two children. Now, question in B asks, what is the probability of both children being normal? So, how do you translate it in probability question? What is the probability that first child will be normal and second child will be normal? There is only one way how it can happen. So what is the probability to have normal child is 5/6, and you have to multiply it, of course, by probability having also second child normal. So the probability here is 25/36. And this is probability that first and second child will be normal. And if you add it together, you see you have 36/36, because these are only four ways how these events can happen. I hope this will help you to develop skills or to realize how to approach the problem. I repeat again, whenever you get any application problem, which might be even challenging problem, start and write it down with what you know. And you will see it will be much easier afterwards to solve the problem.